Hi people, Daniel from Devil & Sons Guitars here, and today I'm asking the question, when is your guitar no longer your guitar? Great, so this is a question I've been thinking about a lot recently, and in this video I'm going to focus on a guitar I'm working on for a client that's a Fender Mexican Strat. Now, what I'm asking is, I've done work on it, I've changed things around on it, is it still a Fender Mexican Strat or is it something else? As a lot of you know, I customize guitars for clients. They often send me their guitars that they really love. They love playing them live. They love playing them at home, but they just don't like the way they look. So I might do a simple paint job on them or something much more complicated. And a guitar came in recently where I'm doing so many upgrades and changes on it. I wondered if it was still the original guitar. And I joked with my client, Zacharias, that actually I could have made him a guitar from scratch, which is something else I do, instead of just customizing this guitar that he had that he wanted to improve somehow. So before I get onto the Fender, let me just show you that guitar. So it's a Jackson Dinky guitar. Now, if you don't know the Dinkies, they're essentially just like a standard guitar, standard scale length, etc. But the body is smaller. It's 7/8 the size of a standard Jackson guitar. And they tend to be super strats with a Floyd Rose equivalent and double humbuckers. Now on this guitar, I'm changing out the humbuckers. I'm replacing them with Alchemy pickups. I'm changing out the bridge. I'm replacing it with a Fu-tone bridge. These are upgrades that are quite standard that you might do on a guitar, but I'm also, as you can see here, carving into the body, adding additions to the body, repainting it. I'm also making changes on the neck. I've just taken the frets out and I'm about to do some work on the fretboard with custom inlays and also LEDs in the neck, and then probably put new frets in. So how much of this guitar is the original guitar? Is it in fact still considered a Jackson Dinky, or is it something totally different? So I asked my followers on YouTube on the community tab what they thought. I gave them the choice about which part of the guitar is most essential, that if you swap it out, it is no longer that guitar. I put forward the idea of the Fender, which we're going to look at in a minute. If I change the neck of the Fender, is it still a Fender? If I change the body, if I change the pickups, the bridge, the tuners. Now, I originally made this video as a live video. I'm making live streams most Wednesdays at 1 PM GMT. So please do join me, because then we can chat in the comments. Unfortunately, the video I made this week, because my internet connections were so bad quality, I'm remaking it. And at the time of making the video, 65% of the people that answered that community post that I put up, the poll, had said that if you change the neck, it's no longer a Fender. And the rest of the people had said if you change the body, it's no longer a Fender. No one suggested that changing pickups, changing the bridge, or changing the tuners in any way detracts from it being a Fender, because these are standard upgrades that people often do on their guitars. In fact, I'm having more and more clients just send me their guitars for pickup changes. As of today, though, there's been a slight change because some people started saying that actually changing the pickups and the bridge does make a difference to whether it's still a Fender. There's this discussion of maybe if you change anything, it's no longer that original guitar. Well, let me show you what I'm doing to this Fender. So it's coming from a client called Lawrence. Lawrence is asking me to do this as a present for his cousin. His cousin's been really good to him and he wanted to repay his cousin. And he knows that his cousin is a big fan of Fenders. His cousin is British, but now lives in America. So he wanted that American look to it. And he's also a big fan of Nile Rodgers and loves Nile Rodgers' transparent acrylic guitar. So Lawrence had bought a cheap Strat type guitar with this translucent blue and a Mexican Fender Strat. And what he's asked me to do is transfer everything from the Fender Strat over to the transparent guitar. So it still looks like a Fender, still has everything from a Fender in it, except the body. Now, actually, this body is a little bit thinner than the Strat that it came from. So the control selector switch doesn't fit in it. I've had to put a different switch in, which isn't quite as deep. And the same, the trem block on the original bridge from the Fender was too big. And I didn't have a spare one, unfortunately, that fitted the bridge. So what I've done is I've put one with a smaller trem block in place, but I've put the saddles from the original Fender on it. So it's a sort of hybrid bridge. Essentially, though, everything else is the same. Even the strap pins are the same as the original. And my question is, can we still consider this a Fender, when essentially the only real difference is the plate of the bridge and the body of the guitar? and of course the new scratch plate. Here's the other question that I put forward in my live video to discuss in the chat. If I then take the leftover body of this Strat and I put it together with the leftover neck of the translucent acrylic guitar, which was made by a company called Wesley, if I put those together, is it still a Fender? It's the Fender body, but it's not the neck. And in fact, the components will be from the Wesley as well. So does that count as a Fender now, or is it something else? I also put this question forward on one of the Facebook groups I'm part of, a guitar mods group. And someone on there called Peter said to me, I should look into the paradox of Theseus's ship. And yes, it's exactly the same concept. Theseus has a ship. He's sailing it at sea. It's made of planks that make up the body, a mast and a sail. Unfortunately, some of the planks are rotten, so he replaces the odd plank. Is it still his ship? Well, yes, it's just the odd plank that he's changed. But what happens if he starts changing more and more of the planks and the mast and the sail until he's replaced everything? Is it still his ship? Moreover, what happens if someone takes all those pieces that have been taken off of the ship because they're rotten and makes a new ship with them? Is that still Theseus's ship? Does that mean there are now two ships that are Theseus's ships? Well, personally, I think the answer is the guitar where I've just changed the body is a Fender with some modifications on it, whereas the other one is a Wesley with a Fender body put in place, because most of the parts of it would be the Wesley, whereas the purple one has got mainly the Fender parts. Now, don't forget at the end, I've got the British equivalent of Theseus's ship, the paradox of Trigger's broom. Lawrence also gave me a replacement Fender neck, an original Fender neck. He's got original Fender tuners for it to put on a different guitar body, where we're replacing the scratch plate with a new scratch plate and the pickups with brand new pickups that are EMG active pickups. What does this make that guitar? When people in my community tab are saying the neck's the most important thing and we're putting a Fender neck on this guitar, is it really a Fender? Is it a parts caster? Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to say thank you for watching. And for those of you that joined me on the live stream, I apologise that the picture quality was so bad. I'm experimenting with live streaming at the moment because coming up for the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020, I'm going to be doing a day of live streaming when I make a prototype of a guitar which is unlike anything I've seen before, and I'm very excited for it. So please do join me on that. If you like and subscribe, hit that bell, you'll find out when it's coming up.